Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Andrea. If you are planning a Disney World trip and feeling a little overwhelmed, especially if not everybody in your family is going to want the same very thing as you, this video is going to help you so very much because after multiple Disney trips, I have learned a thing or two and I've completely changed how I plan our family vacations. So it has made the biggest difference in making sure everyone actually enjoys the trip. So today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I plan a Disney World trip step by step using our upcoming trip as a real example. So you can take this and use it for your own family. And if you're planning a trip right now, I actually created a free Disney planning guide that walks you through all this step by step. And yes, it is for free. So like timelines, what to book, and when and how to map out your days. So you're not trying to piece everything together on your own. And I'll have that link below in the description box so you can follow along while you are watching this. But the very first thing that I like to do when planning any Disney World trip actually has nothing to do with rides or reservations. It actually starts with my family. Before I book anything and before I plan anything, I sit down and figure out what everyone wants out of our trip. And this is something I didn't always do. I used to plan based on what I thought would make the most perfect Disney trip, like the best rides, most popular things, and trying to fit literally every single thing in. And honestly, that is what led to burnout, especially with my husband, and not everyone enjoying the trip the way they could have. So now I plan our trips around the people, not the parks. And before this trip, this upcoming trip, I actually sat down with Tyler, my husband, and had a full-on conversation about what he likes and what he doesn't like. And I literally took notes, like literally actual notes. So for him, he told me he really enjoys things that feel a little bit more relaxed. He wants a real vacation. He loves to golf. He loves to fish, and he really likes to have time at the resort and relax. And one of the biggest things he doesn't enjoy is just the constant walking and feeling like we're going nonstop all day. And that's really important to know because Disney can very easily turn into that if you don't plan for it. And then we've got Annie, my 5-year-old, who I always include her on the planning. She gets to pick a few rides that are really important to her. She chooses a restaurant where we sit down and have a nice meal together. And she even helps decide what parks we go to more than once. And even if you're not going as often as we are, this still is really important, especially if you have multiple park days or the park hopper, because you can build your trip around what your family actually wants to do and what will actually make them happy. So some of the questions I asked Tyler, and I would really recommend asking your family as well, questions like, what makes a Disney trip actually feel worth it to you? Or when you think about going to Disney, what excites you the most? Or what's something that would make the trip feel like beyond exhausting? Or what makes a trip feel relaxing to you instead of overwhelming? And for him, a lot of that came down to things like slower days and resort time and being able to do his things like he loves, and that's golf and fishing. And that completely changed how I planned this upcoming trip because we don't get to go as a family very often, but I want to make sure that I don't make a mistake of planning Disney trip for just one type of person. And that's not just how all families work. So once I have a really clear idea of what everyone wants out of the trip, that is when I start building out the actual structure of our Disney World vacation. So once I have a really clear idea of what everyone wants out of the trip, that's when I start building out the actual structure of our days. And this is where I think a lot of where people could potentially go wrong. They jump straight into rides and reservations, and before we know it, they've even figured out what their trip is actually going to look like, and it's not for everyone. But for me, the structure is what makes or breaks how the trip actually feels. So at this point, during step 2, I am just sitting down and mapping out how I want our days to flow. So essentially, I like to set my dates, and then I like to look at our flights. So for this upcoming flight, we are doing a really late flight. Sometimes I like an early flight. Sometimes I like a late flight. You just need to decide what is best for your family. This last trip, whenever we went to Disney in March, we checked into the Polynesian, and I knew that we were just going to get there super, super early. I had a 6 a.m. flight. We enjoyed the water. We enjoyed the pool. We enjoyed the resort. And then we popped into Magic Kingdom that afternoon. Sometimes I fly out really, really late, and I like it for that trip. Sometimes being able to fly in really late and just wake up and have your full Disney day, it's also really nice. So another question to ask, what is best for your family? So this trip, we are flying out really, really late, and that is how I structured our day 1. We are flying out of Lexington, Kentucky we're flying into Sanford's airport this time, and we are flying Allegiant. Sometimes I get a lot of questions about Allegiant and the Sanford airport, so I'll just go ahead and tell you right now. MCO and Sanford are both Orlando airports. They are both international airports, but MCO is the larger airport, a little bit more chaotic, has your vibe of a large airport. And then Sanford is more so smaller, kind of like our home airport, and just different vibes. It's very, very easy to navigate through. It's just a little bit further out from Disney, but for a direct flight for our family, it works out totally fine. And it's very, very affordable for us. So we are flying into Orlando on our day night 1, and we are checking in to Pop Century. So we're going to wake up the next morning, and the idea from our family's standpoint is to just have it a chill day. Go with the flow. Annie and I will probably wake up because our thing is to wake up, do a mobile order for breakfast, and then go find some sort of water, find a bench and sit next to it and have a little breakfast date. Where we're staying at Pop Century, we can find a bench by the water, the Hourglass Lake, and watch the Skyliner go over the top of it. It's really, really nice with the art of animation on the other side, and we'll just eat a really nice chill breakfast. Tyler, of course, can come along if he doesn't want to and he wants to sleep in. Wear it out. It's totally fine. And then we'll probably just chill at the resort, to be completely honest. All Disney resorts have a sheet where it talks about the resort's activities. So we'll definitely have to check out that to see if there's anything extra fun that we can do throughout the day besides swimming and having fun in the pool. Annie is a swimmy girl. She loves to play in the water. And we also have the options open to going into Disney Springs that evening for some snacks or some shopping. I do want to go shopping because Daddy's debit card is going to be with us on that trip instead of just Mommy's debit card. So maybe. And do some dinner. We might grab one of our family favorite restaurants, and that would be the Boathouse. So we love going to the Boathouse. There's so many different types of food that everybody loves. Their rolls are fantastic. Annie would just eat a steak and the rolls. So it gets pretty inexpensive for her. I love their salads just as much as I love their steaks, but there is a large variety of foods that all three of us absolutely love. And whenever I went with my parents, they also loved the Boathouse too. And my dad would also say that it's probably one of his absolute favorite restaurants as well. So that's just a chill day. Even Tyler asked, hey, is it possible to even jump into one of my favorite parks that night? I'm like, sure, if you want to, because we have our annual passes and we get the luxury of doing that. But sure, our full day 1 is going to be very, very honestly chill, go with the flow, because that is what my husband loves the absolute most. He wants a vacation to feel like a vacation. What he considers a vacation is not what I necessarily consider a Disney vacation as well. There is some extra work that you got to put in there. Day 2, we are going to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. These are Tyler's very favorite parks. We went through the questionnaire. We figured out what his favorite parks are. We're going to be park hopping that day. We're going to start out at Epcot. Are we going to rope drop? I don't know yet. We'll figure that out a little bit closer when we have to manage our lightning lanes, etc. But again, we're going to go to Epcot. The Flower and Garden Festival is going on right now, and that is our favorite festival. We also love going to Epcot because of the food. We love the snacks. He watched our opening day of the Flower and Garden Festival, and he was like, we need to get in there and snack around. And I'm like, you've got it. He also wants to go back to Via Napoli, which is his favorite one of, I think it might be a definitely top 3 restaurants for him in Epcot, but by far his absolute favorite pizza on Disney World property. So we're going back to Via Napoli, and then we're just going to snack around that day. Again, no time frames just yet because we haven't captured our lightning lanes just yet. So that's going to be a fun day. He also loves Hollywood Studios. I think every guy loves Hollywood Studios for point 1. Star Wars, he loves that area, but I think he just overall loves Hollywood Studios because it is the smallest in square foot. And we already established he doesn't like to walk much around the park. So going from Epcot, which is pretty large, and then I think Epcot is the second largest park, if you wanted to know, second largest park in Disney World property. And I think Animal Kingdom is the first largest park from an acreage standpoint. You can fact check me, but I think I'm right. And then I think it's Magic Kingdom, and then I think Hollywood Studios is the smallest. But anyway, he wants to go to Hollywood Studios. Annie loves Hollywood Studios because she loves so many attractions. There's not as many attractions there, but there's more, like the ratio, there's more attractions that she loves to ride. So she loves the Hollywood Tower of Terror, Slinky Dog, etc. We'll talk a little bit about more like attractions, but I'm trying to stay away from attractions until we get to step 3. The next day, we are actually transferring resorts. You guys know, if you've been around, I do love a split stay because I like a change of scenery. I love the Disney resorts. They do add a little extra magic to me, and I just like them, okay? So we are going to be checking into Old Key West on this day. And during our split stay, that morning is going to, actually, this day is going to be essentially like a Tyler day. And we are waking up very early to make our 7 a.m. fishing excursion reservation. We are going to be docking from the yacht club, and we're going to have the whole pontoon to ourselves. We're docking from the yacht club, so then that means the last time Tyler docked from the yacht club before Epcot opened, he was allowed to go into World Showcase and fish. So I'm hoping that's going to be the case for this time. Annie and I have went along on a fishing excursion before. We're not super fans of it. So I'll show you on that vlog of what we're going to do to stay and have positive attitudes and support him doing something that he loves, because he is also supporting and doing something that she and I love, okay? So we'll get there. So we are going to be eating all kinds of snacks, but we're going to be fishing in World Showcase. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I know Tyler is very excited about getting back in there and fishing. He loves to fish, and why not fish while you are at Disney World? Then that afternoon, I plan on going back and enjoying the resort. Old Key West is one of those resorts that makes me feel truly like I am on vacation. It's got the Florida Keys vibe. It's got an amazing pool there, and I just love the atmosphere there. So we do plan on eating dinner there at Old Key West at Olivia's, which, again, a family favorite. We all love Olivia's. It's a really popular restaurant, especially for a resort. They have amazing breakfast and they have amazing dinner. We do love a prime rib, so that's probably what we'll be getting. We're a steak family. We love steak. If Annie's not eating and she doesn't feel like she's in the mood for eating, I'll say, hey, do you want a steak? And she's like, all of a sudden she's starving. She loves steak. So this day is going to be all about Tyler, and Annie and I are going to put on our good attitudes, ball caps, and have a good day with him. The next day is going to be another rest day. This is going to be a long trip. We don't get to take many long trips, so it's going to be 7 days. So we have put in 2 rest days for our family because that's what Tyler loves the most. Now, if Tyler was not with us, we would probably go into the parks a lot more because Annie is a park girly. But because we are trying to find a very even keel type of event, a type of vacation, we're going to have our second rest day. But also, I'm not going to complain because I love the resorts just as much as I do the parks. So Annie's like a park girly. Tyler is the resort honey. And I'm like your middle girl. So I love the resorts and the parks. I just don't like going to the parks every single day. And Tyler doesn't really like to go to the parks but a couple times. So we're going to be having a rest day again, getting some breakfast. We might go to Olivia's if we can wake up in time because I do love Olivia's breakfast. And it is by the water because there is a bunch of water and then you can take the boat to Disney Springs. So that could possibly be another option if we wanted to go to like Summer House or eat breakfast over at Disney Springs. I can hop on the boat and that's a thing. And I love the pool. They have the arcade. They have the food right beside the pool. It's just super fantastic and I love it there. Then that afternoon, we have a magical extra and we are going as a family. We're a golf family. So it's not just a Tyler thing. It's an us thing. And we are going to be going golfing at Disney's Magnolia Golf Course. It's one of the best golf courses. It's a PGA certified, whatever you want to call it. Tiger Woods is played there. They've had all kinds of tournaments there. It's a fancy one. It's very nice. Top of the line. One of the most popular golf courses in the area. We're going to be golfing there. So we have a whole vlog coming about that. You can see Tyler do a really, really good job. You can see me being present, I suppose. I'll hit the ball a couple times. And Annie is learning how to golf currently. So we're going to have I think it's a 3:00 tee time over the Magnolia, which is over by the Grand Floridian. And I already told Tyler too, like it's 18 holes. And if Annie and I do 9 holes, then we can just run over to Magic Kingdom and he's like, fine by me. Again, another thing of like, it's okay for someone to not be okay with staying there forever. Like, it's fine if you want to go do something separate and then meet back up just to keep everyone happy. So that's our plan for that day. Now we have, I think we're on day 5. Am I counting right? We are going to be going into Animal Kingdom. And we're not going to be park hopping this day. We're just going to be going into Animal Kingdom, taking our time. Tyler loves the animals and Annie does too. They both are little animal lovers. They can go on these trails forever, but also Annie is an attractions girly. So they're going to thrive here. Tyler loves Pandora, Flight of Passage. He loves the safari, loves it all. They're going to be in great moods that day. But the thing is about Animal Kingdom is it closes early. So I have a plan for that. Tyler and I, it's our anniversary trip this vacation. And so Tyler and I chose a new restaurant. And I know you're going to be shocked that we've never tried it, especially for us being a steak family. But I allowed Tyler to choose his restaurant for our anniversary meal. And so that night, because Animal Kingdom closes early, I think they close at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m., we're going to go out for our anniversary dinner. And that's going to be at Steakhouse 71 in the Contemporary Resort, which is over by Magic Kingdom. The Contemporary is a Magic Kingdom resort. So that's the plan for that day. Again, We don't have our lightning lanes yet. That comes a little bit later, but this is just the plan that we're writing on our planning tool sheet that you have, that you've downloaded, and we're scribbling all this in and trying to find the balance of making sure everybody feels valued and that everybody is happy. Now on day 6, we are finally going to Magic Kingdom. And I will note that I am the type of person that typically does not go to Magic Kingdom first. It's typically never my first park that I go to on a vacation. It's actually typically my last one, unless I'm staying in a Magic Kingdom resort such as the Poly, the Grand, Wilderness, or Contemporary, because it's just a little skipperoo right on over to Magic Kingdom. That's typically the only time that I actually go to Magic Kingdom as a first park. I like to do it last. And here is why. Because we are trying to balance like the vacation feel, we're trying to stay away from feeling overwhelmed. And I personally will say that Magic Kingdom is the most overwhelming park. I know. Here's why. Because it has the most attractions, there is so much to do that you get overwhelmed by so many decisions that you have to make. It's just like you're standing there and you're like, oh my goodness, what do I choose? Should I do Aladdin's carpets or should I do Dumbo? Like, they're the same. They're pretty much the same. But like, it's just like decisions. One of my travel agent friends, Danielle, she actually mentioned this the other day on Instagram, and she expressed it way better than what has come across my brain. But she was like, you know what, as a travel agent, it's a lot easier for especially families that don't go to Disney often to set Magic Kingdom at the end of the trip, simply because there's so many decisions. And by the time you have went to all of these parks, you're already kind of used to the flow. You're already kind of used to your My Disney Experience app. And that way you're like a semi-pro by the time you get to your last day and you're going into Magic Kingdom. Now, I do understand that whenever you go to Disney World, you want to have that first reaction of walking down Main Street and you're seeing like the Disney World emblem, like the castle, Cinderella's castle. I get that. But also, whenever I was younger, I would walk into Hollywood Studios and like the welcome message would come over the intercom and I would still cry. It's still the same effect for me. But I really do recommend putting Magic Kingdom at the end, especially if you are a family that really wants to pace themselves, because Magic Kingdom, a lot of people say it, Magic Kingdom can be a 2-day or a 3-day park if you're really trying to do all the attractions. Now, if you're going in there and you just have a priority of certain things, then that's fine, okay. Another thing is, my husband is not that big of a Magic Kingdom fan because it is more geared to kids. There's a lot of kiddie rides and he gets motion sickness fairly easy. So whenever you're thinking about attractions that he can do, I know I said I wasn't going to say it until like a little bit later, but when you're thinking about things that he can do, he's very, very limited on that. So Annie and I will be doing an attraction while he goes and gets a snack. So again, trying to make sure that everybody is getting the vacation, the Disney vacation that they're really, really wanting and hoping for. Now, our last day penciled out is a departure day, and we have another late flight. I believe that flight is at 6 p.m. So we'll have all morning to chill, to do something. We do have the option, because we are at Old Key West, to hop on the boat and go down to Disney Springs, have a Disney Springs morning. We can do breakfast there. We can go get a Gideon's cookie. We can hang out at the resort and do some activities that all the resorts are always popping up. So there's all kinds of things. We can sleep in, we can get some rest, or if you're the family that loves going into parks, this would probably be, if you have a late flight, this could potentially be a day where you can go to Animal Kingdom because they close early and you're not necessarily getting gypped out of a full price tag of a park ticket. Animal Kingdom is one of my favorite parks for departure day because of that reason. They're not staying open until 10 p.m., so I'm not necessarily losing value. And they open a lot earlier. I believe most of the time their early entry for resort guests staying on Disney World property is typically like at 7:30 a.m. So if that's an option for you, that might be a really, really great thing for your family. If you all are not exhausted and kind of want to sneak in another park, that would be an amazing thing for you. But for our family, or at least for this trip, we are going to be probably keeping it chill, like sleeping in and letting my husband probably sleep in. And Annie needs to sleep too, because nothing is worse than an irritable, extremely overwhelmed child that's not slept well. We don't want that either. I'm going to put that in my want bucket, like not a sleepy child. That's important. Now that you've seen actually how I structured our trip, let's talk about how I booked everything and the timeline behind it, because this is the part that can feel extremely overwhelming if you don't know when to do things at the right time. There are a lot of moving pieces with Disney planning, but once you understand the key time frames, it becomes so much easier to manage. So the very big first one is 60 days before your trip. And this is when your dining reservations open. Dining reservations open up at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, especially if you are booking popular restaurants or character dining, because those go very fast. And this is where everything I just showed you, your itinerary, starts to come to play, because now you're actually going in and locking in those plans. So for us, that's where I booked things like the Boathouse, Via Napoli, Olivia's, Steakhouse 71, and basically really any sit-down meal. That's very important. Now, something that's a little bit different and really important to know is that your magical extras start 60 days out, but instead of 7 a.m., those open up at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So if you're trying to book things like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, special tours, or for us, things like the fishing or golf, those can literally go so quick. So you want to make sure that you are there at that time. And then the next big time frame is the lightning lanes. If you're staying on Disney World property, you can book those 7 days before your trip, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're staying off property, that window opens up 3 days before, again, at the 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for this, I keep it really simple. I focus on our must-do rides and plan those around the structure of our day instead of trying to overpack everything like I was talking about a little bit earlier. I also have another free tool, the Lightning Lane free planning tool that comes with a cheat sheet, and it has all the different tiers, what makes planning so much easier. So I'll link that up below as well if you want help mapping that out as well. And then a few days before the trip, I just go in and double check everything. I'm looking at everything, all the reservations, all the park plans, and the weather, and just making sure everything is set so we can go into the trip feeling prepared and not stressed. We don't want to feel overwhelmed. And this entire planning tool, again, is in my description box. It's going to keep you organized and also keep you from having to lose train of thought, trying to manage so many people's opinions. And now that everything is booked, now we can actually start talking about how I plan our days in the parks without over planning. I know, so hard to do. Now that everything is booked, this is where I like to go back and actually plan out each single day, but I do it very differently than I used to. Like I mentioned before, I don't try to plan every single ride or every single moment anymore. I don't have that huge Excel spreadsheet with the times. Every day does have intention, but it looks different. I like to focus on 1 or 2 main priorities for each park day, and everything else is just a bonus, because I've learned that over planning is the fastest way to feel overwhelmed and defeated. So for example, if we're going to a park like Epcot or Hollywood Studios, I'm thinking through what are the few things that really matter to us as a family that day. Maybe it's a couple key rides. Maybe it's a dining reservation. Maybe it's something specific like a show or just spending time in a specific area like Star Wars. But I'm not trying to do everything. I'm building the day around those priorities. Everybody came together and set their priorities, and then letting the rest of the day flow around that. And this is also where lightning lanes come into play. We are a lightning lane family. I use those for our must-do rides, so we're not spending our entire day waiting in lines, and then I have space in the day to leave that it doesn't feel rushed. I also think about timing throughout the day. So if we have something scheduled in the morning, I'm not stacking a ton of things right after it. I'm giving us time to move, to take breaks, grab some food, and just enjoy where we are. And this is especially important if you're traveling with kids or just different personalities in your group, because not everyone can go nonstop all day like Tyler. I always build in flexibility. And if we want to slow down, sure, why not? We can. If we want to stay longer somewhere else, sure, why not? We can. Nothing feels locked in or beyond stressful. And honestly, this is what has made the biggest difference in how our trips feel, because instead of rushing from one thing to the next, we're actually able to enjoy what we're doing while we're doing it. So when you're planning your days, focus on what really matters. Use your lightning lanes for those key rides and give yourself permission to not do every single thing, because that's what's going to make your trip feel enjoyable instead of exhausting. Another thing that has completely changed how our trips feel is planning for our energy, not just the schedule, because you can have the most perfectly planned trip on paper, but if everyone is exhausted, it's not going to feel enjoyable. And this is something that I have learned and that I've had to learn the hard way. So now when I plan our trips, especially as an entire family, I'm very intentional about building in time to rest and reset. And that can look like having a slower arrival day where we're not jumping straight into the park like we did our last trip. It can look like having a full resort day where we're just enjoying where we're staying, or even just building in breaks during park days where we sit down, grab a snack, find some space on the hub grass, and take a minute. For our trip especially, this is why I included things like a resort day, a reset day when we can switch resorts, and even a full rest day with things like golf. Because not every day needs to be a park day filled to the max. It can still be a great Disney day, not in the park. And this is especially important when you're planning for different personalities. Not everyone wants to go nonstop all day. That's going to be okay. I always try to think ahead and ask myself, where are we going to need a break? Where are we going to need to slow down? Are we going to make it that late? How can I make sure no one gets to the point that they're just completely worn out? What is their max capacity? Because everyone gets tired at Disney World. That's just how it is. But planning to the energy is just as important as planning to your reservations. And honestly, once I started doing this, it made our trips feel so much more enjoyable and a lot less stressful, because you can only drink a certain amount of caffeinated drinks to get you through the day, but you're still going to be exhausted if you do not take care of yourself. And the last thing that really changed how our trip feels is how I handle things in real time while we're actually there, because even with the best plan, things are going to change. Yes, I have cried and had a full-on meltdown at Disney because sometimes things just don't go to plan. Rides go down, moods change, and if you're locked into a plan, that's when things can start feeling really stressful. So now I like to go into each day with a plan, a guideline, but I don't feel tied to it. So if something isn't working, we pivot. If a line is too long, maybe we'll skip it. Maybe we'll come back to it. If someone is tired, well, let's go take a break. If we're having fun somewhere, we can stay longer. And I don't feel pressure to stick to what I originally planned just because it was on the schedule. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to check every single thing off. What is it about? Remember, it's actually about spending time together. And this has been a big mindset shift for me. Letting go of needing everything to go perfectly and just being present in the moment, because those are the things you actually remember from your trip. Well, you don't really want to remember the bad stuff. So give yourself some flexibility to adjust when you are actually there. That's what makes the biggest difference. It's not about doing everything. It's about creating the trip that actually feels good for your family. Not mine, everyone else's, yours. So if you're in the middle of planning your trip or even just starting to think about it, I really, truly hope this has helped take some of that overwhelm away and give you a clear way to approach planning your Disney World vacation. And if you want something you can actually follow step by step, don't forget, I do have my free planning tool and my lightning lane planning tool with the cheat sheet, which will give you all kinds of help. It'll help you map out everything. And I'm going to be sharing this entire trip in real time, travel day, park days, everything. So make sure that you are subscribed. Follow me over on the Instagram so you don't miss a thing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.
Do you believe in magic? Comes from the inside. Do you believe in magic?